Welcome, friends,
to the How to Heretic.
I'm Uncle Mark.
And I'm Uncle Dan.
And I'm Uncle Doug.
And this is your user's guide to life on the outside.
That's right. Leaving religion is the first step into a larger, better world.
But it can also be a scary world. Things work differently now.
Never fear. That's why we're here.
We're your audio uncles, and with help from good friends and experts in all sorts of fields.
We're going to share the stories and seek the knowledge to build a great life.
After all, you only do what we know if you don't make most of it.
Okay, let's do a show.
Gentlemen,
Hello.
Hey-yo.
we are here on what appears to be a semi-sunny day in our fair city.
Oh, together, one more time.
One more time.
Yep.
Yeah, all together, and then who knows where the fuck you're going to be.
I literally do not know the next city I'm heading to, but I'll know probably sometime this week.
I could be a city near you.
Is it possible you could be here next week? I'm just curious.
Maybe. Yeah, unlikely.
Uncle Mark was fired from everything.
That's right.
I've had a change, and it's a good thing. And
Yes.
we're going to make it a wonderful thing.
Hurrah.
And change, we love change. That's why we've numbered this show one higher than last week.
Yes.
We like to do that.
Yeah.
Let's go backwards next time, though.
Done. So what are we talking about today, guys?
Well, I am going to I'm going to talk about religion. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. It's this thing that we talk about, and how it responds when the new shit comes around.
Oh, so probably just fine.
Yeah.
Everything's going to go
Yeah.
well.
Happy stories.
You can skip the segment. You don't even need to. And then you got a thing, Doug?
Yeah, I'm gonna update 3 stories we've covered previously that have some things that have some twists and turns that have happened in the past few months,
It's
weeks,
like
and
a
hours.
goddamn water park of sludge.
Yep, indeed.
And I have a book report, and it is silly. So don't worry, I'm not going to scare you again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun time. So please come and enjoy episode 129. And don't forget that your uncles
The 3 we
have merch.
Merch.
We have merchandise at the Heretic. Go there, get some stuff. Doug's wearing it now.
I am.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's fantastic, and we've been really enjoyed seeing your beautiful bodies and homes adorned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Send us photos.
Yeah,
We'd love
send
to see
photos. It's terrific. We love seeing it out there, and the first time I see one live in the wild, I'm going to scream.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So
Be the first to make me scream in public like a girl when the Beatles came to town.
right.
Right? So get some merch. Enjoy the show.
Here we go.
Uncle Doug,
Uncle Mark.
you know, there was a time before. There was a time in history when I feel like, and I don't want anybody to freak out about this, I feel like religion got some things wrong.
Whoa.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
a controversial statement on this podcast.
It's pretty. I know, but just hear me out. But I think that time is over.
Well,
Yeah, do you guys disagree?
that's very clearly true.
Yeah,
No. Listen, guys. On this,
Smooth sailing for religion.
yeah,
from here on out, right?
yeah. Starting now.
Start. Now.
Yeah.
Wait. No. Okay. No, you're right, though, that on this podcast, Uncle Mark, we beat up on religion a lot.
Yeah.
And we point out the ridiculous claims in their foundational texts. We accuse religions and their believers of hypocrisy, bigotry, and hatred. Mm-hmm. Hell, sometimes we're mean about their clothes.
Yeah, it's true.
Incidentally, I did see some Mennonite women in a coffee shop here in Salt Lake the other day.
Really?
That was really weird. That is not a usual thing.
This is
here.
not Mennonite country. No.
So, anyway, we pick on them in a lot of ways for their pasts, for dogmas and traditions that often date back centuries or millennia. Mm-hmm. And I think that's fair. We don't live in the past. We live now. So it's reasonable to expect people to update themselves once they are privy to the new shit. But that's the thing, isn't it? Dogma is tricky/impossible to update. For an atheist, all one needs to overcome in order to get better, in order to get better, more accurate, up-to-date thinking, is one's own biases, which that's no easy task, but doable. But for a believer, they have to overcome the notion that God says that the opposite is true. Mm-hmm. So when a mild-mannered English dude with a bowler hat and a Dumbledore beard comes back from a long trip to South America and says that species can change over time to better fit their environment, everybody loses their goddamn mind. but it's the believers who, almost 200 years later, are still screaming that they ain't condescended for no monkeys.
Yeah.
Or when women are finally empowered enough in society that they start demanding equity in treatment, or gay folks start getting all uppity and insist that they're people too, and maybe they can just love whoever they want to, and it makes sense that believers struggle with that. Their book says that's not okay. They've known these things for millennia.
Yeah.
But that's an example of when good science directly contradicts a religious mythos. Mm-hmm. I get why that would be such a mindfuck for these people.
Right.
That makes sense to me. But what about what happens when science comes up with something new? Something nobody's ever thought of before?
It occasionally does.
Okay. On occasion, that happens.
I think it's Diet Dr. Pepper. It just comes to mind. Thank you, science.
Which I think all religions can agree is a terrible thing.
Yes.
When there's no dogma to worry about, there aren't any edicts from any ancient rabbis or popes to contend with, no scriptures on the subject or traditions to follow. How do the religions do then? Anybody want to guess?
Poorly.
I've chosen 3 different issues.
Is it a pass-fail, or is it...
It's just a fail.
Yeah, they're just auditing the class.
Yeah, exactly. When I've chosen 3 different issues that religions have weighed in on in the last few decades to see how they've done. It's, well, if you've ever listened to this show before, you know that it's not going to go great.
Yeah.
So
good time to turn off the podcast if you were being hopeful.
Yeah, exactly.
They got something right.
Issue 1. In vitro fertilization.
The creation of life. Man playing God.
Yes, exactly.
Very often time for Christians having fertility problems.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. So for those who don't know, IVF is a procedure that was first successfully done in the late 70s, 1970s that is, but has been available broadly since the 80s. Briefly, it's the process of harvesting eggs from a woman and sperm from a man and doing the whole fertilization thing in a lab. And then the embryo or embryos that are created are implanted into a woman. It's often multiple embryos to improve the odds that something will take. And bing, bang, boom, baby.
Yeah, I know. Sure. I know more than a couple human beings who have been created just so.
Yep. Indeed.
Yeah.
What a terrible thing for them.
They don't have a soul.
We'll get to that. We'll get to it.
Like a ginger.
Right, exactly. It's an amazing technology for people who really want kids, but like the roughly 10% of couples are experiencing some form of infertility. Great, right? And since nobody really knew how human generation actually worked until about the early 1800s, the Bible and the Quran and the Bhagavad Gita don't say shit about the subject. As a matter of fact, for 2,000 years, the best theory anybody had for how human babies were made was Aristotle's, which, if you've ever read any Aristotle, you know he got most things wrong. Got a few things right, got most things very wrong.
I'm going to disagree with you one little bit. The Bible does have something to say about artificial insemination. Immaculate conception.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get to some of the things the Bible does say.
Okay, great.
But it doesn't say anything about in vitro specifically. Because as I was saying, for 2,000 years, the best thing we had was Aristotle, who said that basically the man injected the person into the woman, and her body just fed it until it was ready to live on its own.
A sperm was just a little tiny person.
It's a homunculus.
Yeah.
Right. So the idea that the woman even contributed at all to the makeup of the new person didn't really come around until the 1600s and was pretty controversial until the 1800s.
So woman just provided room and board.
Basically, yeah. That's all it was. She was a vessel.
Yeah.
And she fed it.
So a man's sperm is a bunch of little tiny men and little tiny women.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's just whatever it is. You just you put it in there. It's just one. A lot of the time they didn't think a bunch of little tiny. It was just one.
You know what? You guys are overthinking this.
Right.
It's a fucking miracle. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Enough said indeed. So, considering the fact that
sorry, I just imagined you two as Sarah and Bristol Palin sitting there having a conversation about where babies come from. Yeah, just like a little man or a little woman. That's what it is. Yeah.
Babies, according to them, babies come from wine coolers.
Yeah, it's just this is the level of Christian sex education.
Yeah, exactly. So, considering the fact that one of the Abrahamic gods' first edicts was to, quote, be fruitful and multiply, you'd think they'd be super stoked about this new bit of tech, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
What are you, new?
Yeah.
Obviously, a whole bunch of religious people rejected it out of hand.
Yeah, of course.
Not everybody, mind you, but so many.
Yeah, they were called test tube babies.
Right, exactly.
And God had been taken out of the process, right?
Right. So let's just say that they got creative about the why of the thing. The Catholic Church issued a report in '87 which basically said, among a bunch of other nonsense.
When you say the Catholic Church issued a report, everything that comes after that is going to be terrible.
Silly and
course.
stupid.
Yeah.
But they got real special on this one.
Okay.
Because among a bunch of nonsense, they included the idea that everyone has the right to be conceived through good old-fashioned fucking.
The right?
The right.
Okay.
It is a right. Because when I think about my own origin, what I want to imagine is mom and dad in flagrante.
I know.
Oh, God.
That's my right, God damn it.
And technically, can you have a right before you exist?
Shut your fucking mouth. It's your right after the fact to have had that thing.
Okay.
It's an ex post fact, pre facto. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't,
We need to get
careful.
Andrew Torres in on this.
Right. Uncle Mark's brain is now smoking.
It is.
It's an ipsocoitus. Ipsocoitus.
Eventually, the geniuses over at the Holy See decided that in vitro was acceptable, but only if, and there are a few only ifs.
Yeah.
Only if no spare embryos were created, because that's a person, you know.
Uh-huh.
Why do they believe that? They just do! Also, no third parties may be used. So, if the man's little tadpoles ain't swimming, or the woman isn't laying good eggs, or even if they both contributed their DNA just fine, but they needed to have another woman carry
Surrogate,
it,
yeah.
hell no. Literally, Pope Pius XII said that using a third person was, quote, mechanical adultery.
Oh, my fucking God.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Mechanical adultery sounds like a prog rock band.
Right?
I did not see that one coming.
There's a bunch that I didn't see coming. But the thing is that what they have to do is take the new idea and apply all of the old ideas to it
and
see how it plays out in their brains.
Run it back through the fucking papyri.
Yeah, exactly. See what comes out.
It's like
Bury
we
it in a jar by the Red Sea for 1,000 years and pull it out and see what it says.
It's like we always say, when all you've got is a hammer, make lemonade.
Here's a fun objection. IVF requires a man's sperm. And how do we get a man's sperm?
Oh, God.
Well, they can insert a needle into the testicles to collect it. But that's the stupidest thing any of us have ever heard.
That's probably also in ex vitro homosexuality.
Right?
Right.
So the
Letting
obvious...
a man put a needle in your balls, I mean.
Right. So the
doesn't love
obvious
that?
choice is onanism, the terrible and delightfully fun sin of masturbation. But in the every sperm is sacred world of Catholicism, that's a big problem.
Oh, my God.
Also, Catholics say IVF is only okay if it doesn't lead the couple to stop fucking. Seriously, even though they are adamant that the reason for sex is procreation, and these couples are often incapable of that, they are still really concerned that the couples be sure to go through those motions.
This is like the Catholic Church as a giant computer in the old Star Trek, and James T. Kirk has given it a conundrum it cannot solve.
Right.
This is the Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah, it's the Kobayashi Maru. It is just spitting out berserk nonsense.
This
Right,
is
right.
what happens when you insist that only virgins get to make the rules of your church.
I was going to say, like, being lectured on sex by an octogenarian virgin
Yeah.
is just
you know what, Catholic Church? Just say you don't like it because you don't like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is not working.
This is not it.
This is not going to hold up.
Yeah. Other Christians have made other weird edicts and arguments about IVF. For instance, they argue that it's unnatural and therefore goes against God. It's God's will if a couple is supposed to have a baby. You don't get to decide that. So this is the other side of the quiverful coin, where the idea is that you can't have birth control because it's not your choice how many kids to have. It's God's, and maybe he's just going to fuck with you.
Yeah.
So that's his right, so you don't get that right. The Mormons, our fair religion of origin, take a typically bullshit approach. You guys won't be surprised about this, saying that IVF is okay, but they really don't want you to do it if there's a third party involved. I mean, it's up to you and everything, but we're pretty sure it would make you a bad person. But, you do it if you think it's right, I guess.
Yeah, they managed to both not really come up with an answer, but still make you feel guilty either way.
Yeah.
Because especially when we were young, there was nothing more shameful than a childless married couple.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
truly.
You would think that Mormons would be thrilled by the science making it possible to have children.
Yeah.
Mormon families are typically fairly large.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like their abortion or birth control stance, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, no.
We're not specifically against it. We haven't written any official documents saying you can't do it, but
it's a cowardly way out.
It really is.
Yeah.
And we'll encounter more of that later.
Okay.
Methodists and Church of England were a little more liberal about the whole IVF thing. Their main sticking point is what is done with any extra embryos that are created. They have a bizarre 14-day grace period where you can do anything you want to an embryo. Why is that a question? Well, let's move on to our next topic, stem cell research.
Yes.
There are lots of kinds of stem cells, but by far the most promising are those from embryos. Embryonic stem cells are basically blank cells that can become any kind of material in a human body. Research suggests that these might be the key to treating a whole host of ailments, including macular degeneration, spinal cord injury, stroke, burns, heart disease, diabetes, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. They're pretty cool.
Yeah. What could be more amazing than the fact that we can make a cure with our bodies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they are derived from those tiny little balls of cells that all the religious folk have convinced themselves are definitely 100%, no doubt in their minds, humans.
Yeah.
Complete with souls and everything. Why do they think this? They made it up. They had to pick a moment when humanity begins, and they chose that one. The moment when it looks like a collection of bubbles.
Yeah.
That's a person with rights.
It looks no different than any other embryonic tissue of any other animal.
Exactly. And it looks only because science has provided microscopes with which to see it.
Right.
The eyeball with which to see it.
Yeah, you can't even... Yeah, exactly. It is utterly invisible until you look through a series of glass lenses.
This thing that I can't see and didn't know existed until science showed it to me is now of major concern to me in my faith.
It is fuck that. It's a person, Doug.
Yeah.
That is a human being with a soul.
That is somebody eligible for the death penalty, motherfucker.
That's right.
So back up. And, I wonder how many of these screamy Christians, and probably not just Christians, who are screamy about stem cell research, get super, super quiet when the doctor tells them, well, there is one possible treatment for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yep. All of a sudden, that radio station goes off the air.
Yeah, we're gonna start to see more and more actual, like, it hasn't borne all the fruit, all that much fruit
But
yet.
there are stem cell treatments going on now, right?
It's happening now,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are misusing stem cells, which is bizarre. They're like, there are quacks that just inject stem cells into people and claim that they're gonna, but there are definitely good treatments out there and more to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Assuming that it's not banned because we're now becoming a theocracy in the United States of America.
Yeah.
So, no, it's a big no for most religious people. In spite of the fact that this kind of research might lead to the cure of countless human horrors, it's just not worth murdering that beautiful tiny blob person.
Yeah.
Incidentally, the Bible is decidedly in another corner on this point, with God providing a recipe for the black magic abortion of a baby made in adultery in Numbers 5, and rules about punishment for accidental abortion versus accidental murder in Exodus 21, we see that at least Old Testament God definitely did not see a womb-bound spawn as the same as a person.
And remember, for American Christians, Old Testament God is the only one that matters.
Right?
Yeah.
But, well. So, let's move on to the third idea that I wanted to talk about, which is medical marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Ganja wasn't available to the Bronze Age Middle Easterners who created the scriptures, so there's no specific scriptural reference to guide us on it. As a precedent, the first time Europeans saw somebody smoke tobacco, they threw him in jail for witchcraft. but they took to it pretty good after that, and never really had a religious objection since. Incidentally, by the time that guy was let out of prison, 5 years later, everybody was smoking. And
He went for 5 years?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. So there are, so I did say
He
that.
must have been black.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Nope, he was a white guy. Anyway, one of Columbus's dudes.
Oh.
Yeah. So what's the word on the wacky weed? Well, unlike tobacco, marijuana seems to have actual powerful medicinal applications. It can be used genuinely to help people who are in extreme amounts of pain or emotional distress. So obviously,
Bad.
the religion's rejected.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Catholics, no. Orthodox Christians, no. Rastafari, well, that doesn't count. But the Mormonism, let's talk about that for a second. A year or two ago, as you two will recall, Utah voters passed an initiative to legalize medical marijuana. It passed by a pretty decent margin in a state that's over 50% Mormon.
I think we were all quite surprised by that.
Yeah, it was a big.
Yeah. Now, the church itself grumbled, but not really out loud. It was more of a geriatric groan that emanated from downtown Salt Lake City and wafted over the state like a putrid gas.
Yeah.
Then, the state legislature, a wholly owned and operated subsidiary of LDS Inc., went to work basically nullifying the will of the people and watering down the law to within an inch of its life.
For the second time that year.
And making it as difficult as they possibly could make it to actually qualify for and get the stuff.
Yeah.
So, even though the church didn't really say anything, the message was somehow loud and clear?
Well, I did hear church officials on the Radio West program that we have been on, Dan.
Yes, indeed.
Church officials one morning, Mormons who believe that Jews came here 3,000 years ago in wooden submarines,
Yes.
saying that they could not really accept it because the science was still out. CBD.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the point, right? Because all of these bastards turn to science regularly
Right.
when it's convenient.
Yes, in the moments that it provides any sort of backup for what they're talking about. And to those people, I'd say, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck
I mean,
up.
could we make a deal? From the day your book was finished, whatever that book was, we won't poke at it, we won't futz with it, but everything that happened from that day forward, you don't get to have an opinion on.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
And because the crafting of their opinions is, though they will claim to high heaven that it's not, almost entirely arbitrary.
Yeah.
It's based on a couple of rules that don't really apply, and then just extrapolation and guesswork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fuck you.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up.
Like in the biggest possible language.
Especially when you are, in all those cases, these busybodies, naysayers, are causing people to suffer.
Yeah.
Stem cells, medical marijuana, in vitro. If someone wants to have a baby and just by bad fucking luck, their shit doesn't work,
Yeah.
how's it your fucking business to tell
Right.
them they can't?
Right.
Bad luck or bad design.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, but that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
God made you this way. God obviously didn't want you to have babies.
I know. But,
Why are you tricking him?
But the frustrating thing is, okay, fine, God made us. Then he made the brains of the people who came up with this stuff.
Right.
He made the fucking marijuana.
Well, now,
right? Like,
now you're into rabbinical territory, where the rabbis are always so good at like, well, if God didn't want us to do it, why'd he make a workaround? Why did he make us capable of coming up with the new shit?
If you're in your heart of hearts, you seriously believe that Native Americans are descended from Jews, and you think science has something to back up an opinion you have about trans people, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. You don't get to use that yardstick.
You don't get to pick and choose. Science just is what it is. You pick and choose your own holy books, what you want to use out of them, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's not how science works.
Yeah.
You take it all.
Yeah. And especially if it can help other people, your fellow humans who are suffering and in pain, or who are emotionally devastated that they can't reproduce, or who are in some way in need, and you're gonna fucking tell them no because you don't like masturbation?
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Exactly. Yeah. Fuck you, Pope, whoever.
Stop getting
that just applies to all of them.
Stop getting everything wrong.
Yeah. All right, great. Well, that was a cheerful update.
Yes, indeed. Enjoy all of that, everybody. Religion stupid. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Uncle Mark.
Hey, Uncle Dan.
Dateline, Salt Lake City.
Well, what's the latest?
It's a newsreel before the film.
Well, dear uncles,
Brigham Young University in beautiful Provo, Utah.
The derp, she is deep, my dear uncles. We cover stories on the show of long-dead cults and ancient stupidity, but sometimes we cover subjects that continue to develop in real time. Such is the case with 3 stories this week that individually do not merit our precious time, but collectively deserve a quick look in our recurring segment, Heretics in the News.
News.
So, let's start with a pair of stories from our own local tribal region of the country, because the Mormon Church has never met a rake it didn't want to stomp on. Only weeks ago in episode 127, we talked about the fact that BYU, that is Brigham Young University, named after racist, misogynist, child rapist Brigham Young.
I like to call it BY me.
BYU had removed a particularly egregious paragraph from its honor code that specifically outlawed homosexual acts.
Right.
I think it bears repeating part of that paragraph because up until February of 2020, every student that currently goes to BYU and every student that has ever gone to BYU, including myself, was required to read and officially agree to this. Quote, homosexual behavior is inappropriate and violates the honor code. Homosexual behavior includes not only sexual relations between members of the same sex, but all forms of physical intimacy that give expression to homosexual feelings. End quote.
Is that like eating donuts together or blowing bubbles?
Anything that might help you live your truth is banned.
Some laws are written quite broadly on purpose.
Yeah. So it came as quite a shock a few weeks ago when the church tried to quietly excise that paragraph.
Oh, they love to try and sneak things through.
You would think they would fucking learn.
We're watching, dumbasses.
I know.
We know how many cookies are in the cookie jar, asshole.
And to be clear, the church did not make a statement or announce a change in policy or issue a manifesto that it would no longer target queer members. It simply removed a paragraph that, when read in context, out of context, out loud, or quietly in a closet, was shocking even decades ago. So, although the church tried to do this quietly, word quickly spread on social media and this became an international story. It's one of those where it's like, oh, you've made this step forward. I can't believe how backwards you were. Right?
Yeah.
So the church responded in a series of conflicting statements that seemed to give hope to LGBTQ students and cause more jaded folks, like me, to worry that this may not be the day of Jubilee that it seemed to be.
Like all of us.
Yes, truly.
Like anyone paying any attention at all.
Yeah.
There is always, what's the fucking catch?
Yep, exactly.
What's the fucking catch?
And well, Mormon Church, thanks for never letting me down by ever giving me hope that you will ever change.
Yeah.
Several students took this seemingly hopeful moment to finally come out of the closet now that it was safe in their...
Very publicly.
Very publicly.
Yeah.
And I am not gay, and I have never been in the closet, therefore, so I cannot know what a burden that must be, the fear that it entails, or the relief and liberation one must feel to finally step out into the light.
It is a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I watched several BYU students do just that over the last couple of weeks, I definitely felt joy, but could not shake the unease that another shoe was going to drop. And on Wednesday it did. In a statement, Church Educational System Commissioner Paul V. Johnson said, and I'm going to paraphrase a little bit of this just to get, because it's a little bit longer statement, I'm just grabbing the money quotes. Quote, out of respect for all concerned, we are fuck you. Just fuck you. Sorry. Jesus.
So respectful. This whole thing is so
It's
respectful.
all born out of respect.
It's all done with love, guys. This hurts me more than it hurts
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
Yeah.
We are providing the following clarifying statement. The moral standards of the church did not change with the recent release of the updated Honor Code. A foundational doctrine of the restored gospel of Jesus Christ is that marriage between a man and a woman is ordained of God, and that the family is central to the Creator's plan for the eternal destiny of his children. Same-sex romantic behavior cannot lead to eternal marriage and is therefore not compatible with the principles included in the Honor Code. End quote. So all of these students who came out are feeling rightfully betrayed and entrapped.
Yeah.
So, I mean, was this an intentional ploy by the church to draw queer students out of the closet so they could be targeted? Or was this some kind of internal struggle inside the church between moderating and modernizing forces in like the marketing department and the outdated and vile beliefs of the Skeksis leadership? Who knows?
I always assume the worst.
Well, I don't. Here's what I always assume. I always assume that somebody made a decision and snuck it by enough people that it
Right.
actually got through,
Yeah.
which was just to eliminate some wording.
Yeah, just scratching it out.
And then hoping that then it would lead to a big change because there would be all this pressure on. But somebody else
Yeah.
got grumpy about it and saw that a bunch of queer people were feeling all kinds of good about themselves and needed to shit on it.
In any case, there are a lot of photographs of kids
Yeah.
prior to that moment that it was not known they were queer.
I mean, I'm tempted to apply Hanlon's razor here, which is never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity.
Yeah.
That should be the motto of the Mormon church.
But can't it be both?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, Uncle Mark, you're absolutely right. A targeted at-risk population was lured out of hiding and now has had the rug pulled out from underneath them and will face renewed and even more targeted abuse and discrimination. I mean, whether they meant to or not, that's the result, right? All
Yeah.
these kids at BYU are now fucking terrified.
Yeah, and stupidity can lead to an act of malice. Just
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
This has led two scientific societies to withdraw job listings from BYU websites.
Good.
The American Geophysical Union and the Geological Society of America. This is a good start.
And you don't want to get on their bad side.
right?
No.
Fuck me.
They're very patient people.
Yeah.
This is a good start. We've said on this podcast, any threat to BYU athletics or the church's ever-expanding bottom line is the only thing that's ever moved them. So
Yeah.
there should be boycotts of all BYU athletic teams until they rescind this bullshit policy.
Yeah.
I know I'm rooting against them.
Yeah. Most definitely.
When I was a swimmer, we used to swim against BYU all the time, and it was kind of pointless to boycott them because it was such an easy win, you know?
Oh, zing!
It was just an easy win.
I'm gonna avoid.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay away from it.
All right.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, I'm I'm growing up.
You are. It's the maturity that
You've changed, just like the Mormon church. He's going to punch me in the face later.
If you've ever contemplated donating to organizations such as Equality Utah, which is obviously an organization that supports gay rights in this state, or the Pride Center, or Encircle, which is an organization down in Utah County that's doing really, really good work for that population of people.
Yeah.
Now's a good time.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Not pissed off enough yet? Well, let's.
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking, God, I'm
pretty mad.
I'm a little mad. But
Oh,
I could be madder.
I could go further.
let me help. Let's update a
go
story.
back for seconds.
Let's update a story we covered back in episode 119, where we talked about the revelation that the Mormon Church had been hoarding and hiding a single investment fund of around $100 billion.
Yeah.
To get a small idea of just how staggeringly, mind-blowingly large that sum of money is, how incredible and nefarious it is that the church was able to keep it hidden for so long, and how naked the avarice is that would cause an ostensibly charitable organization to amass such a sum, go back and listen to Uncle and Mark and I struggle with it. Well, it turns out that God's own church has failed to file with the SEC for the last several years, which appears to have been part of their strategy to keep this $100 billion under wraps. Because, Jesus. Well, now that the cat is out of the bag, the church and its largest investment fund, Ensign Peak Advisors, disclosed their Wall Street holdings last week, totaling over $37 billion. Now, it bears repeating that this is just the Wall Street holdings of just one of their investment funds. This does not include shell companies, other businesses, properties, etc. And once again, it bears repeating that Mormons are commanded to pay 10% of their gross income to this racket. So what is the church investing in?
Yeah, poverty-stricken Mormons.
Yeah,
are told,
Poverty-stricken Mormons.
And
give 10% of your income to us.
the poors are generally leaned on more heavily than
Yeah.
the rich.
Yeah.
in the Mormon Church.
So what's this church taking that money and investing in? Pretty much everything. Just the list of companies and how much the church has invested in them is 41 pages long.
Fuck.
I mean, I gotta show you guys this. I know it is just a list of companies and the hundreds of millions of dollars the church has invested in those companies. 41 pages.
Starts with a whole bunch of blue chip
Yes, absolutely.
and tech. They're heavily invested in tech.
That's exactly right.
Are there also some problematic companies
There
for
are-
Mormons?
So the church, I think, anticipated that this might one day come to light.
Right. So they sold all their dildo stocks.
They are not invested in any beer manufacturers, alcohol, coffee, or anything like that. But they're invested in Google, Amazon, Facebook, Disney, Chevron, Walmart, and on and on and on and on. Apple and Microsoft to the tune of $1.5 billion each.
Right.
Most of the investments are, like you said, Uncle Dan, in tech, healthcare, and financial services. But the tentacles of this religion reach into every industry and every sector of the global economy.
Yeah.
So, with these two stories, it's just so outrageous that this organization that talks about its charity and tries to play up how important a member of the community is just hoarding this money and is basically one of the most successful stock market investors in history.
I feel like they at one point somebody dug up. They were touting a figure of like we did $40 million worth of charity.
Yeah.
This year. That was just a few years ago.
Which is a fingernail clipping
It is
on the obese body of the church.
like if it would be like if one of us went out and was like, "Hey, I gave a nickel to a homeless guy."
Yeah.
You guys should probably think I'm pretty cool about that.
I'll bet it's less than that.
Yeah, I threw
exactly.
a penny at a homeless guy from my private jet.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So with these two stories, we're watching something really weird and unprecedented. The Mormon Church and its beliefs are becoming more and more isolated and antiquated, and the church is absolutely lost as to how to deal with it, and is subsequently losing members at an astonishing rate. At the same time, the religious finances are exploding.
Yeah.
I don't know what this means for the future, but for you current Mormons out there listening to us, and we know you're out there, stop paying tithing.
Yeah.
You cite this shit as the reason.
Stop it.
Stop
Yeah.
it. Give your 10% if you can. If you must and should give it away, give it to an organization that can use it.
yeah, give it to
Church-
charity.
Give it to charity.
They literally, I don't care. I know that like they're saying that your God is like going to be mad at you. He can't be mad at you if you give 10% to charity.
Yeah, to something that's going to do some good.
Do your soul some good and give it to a charity like the ones Doug mentioned that are actually fixing the damage Mormonism does.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Or buy yourself some Apple fucking stock, or give
Right.
us the money.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Give
We
it to
have
us.
merch.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know what you get for your tithing? Bupkis.
Yeah, nothing.
You know what you get at the Heretic? T-shirts, mugs, skateboards, bump stocks. Oh, God. I just added those.
I like that.
All right. Lastly, let's update you all on something we talked about back in episode 107. In that episode, we talked about a group of young Earth creationists and a fossil finding expedition called the Dragon's Den Dig. A documentary was made of this dig called Raising the Allosaur: The True Story of the Rare Dinosaur and the Homeschoolers Who Found It. In this documentary,
The absolutely not true story.
yes, exactly.
The 100% fabricated
It was kind of
story.
covered with leaves.
Yes, exactly. In this documentary, a young girl named Haley discovers.
Of course it was Haley.
Of course it was Haley.
Yeah.
Discovers an Allosaurus skull half buried in the dirt and covered in leaves. The location of this skull in not very old soil was proof, at least to the dimwits in this community, that dinosaurs didn't die off millions of years ago, but mere centuries. Of course, it turns out that this was all staged and the documentary was bullshit, but it also turns out that young Haley's father is one Mark Meadows. This dim meat stick is a congressman from North Carolina.
No, that's why you mentioned.
That's right. Member of the Freedom Caucus and about as much of a dope as our modern society is capable of producing. Wow. Now, not only did Mark Meadows stage a fake documentary meant to prove that the Earth is only 6,000 years old, and not only did he force his child daughter to star in this deception, but he would go on to purchase the property in Colorado where this dig took place in an effort to keep his deception from being investigated.
Right.
And because derp is a flat circle, Meadows sold this property to Ken Ham in Answers in Genesis in 2016
Right.
for $120,000. And because it turns out that evangelical Christians are world-class liars, Meadows failed to disclose this sale on his congressional financial disclosure forms, something he has quite a reputation for not doing. So, Meadows is...
That's the last we've heard of him, huh?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, boy, that'll sink his career for sure.
Right, Jesus. Meadows is far from the only young earth creationist evangelical Christian fanatic running around the halls of Congress, unfortunately. He bears mentioning today because only hours ago, Donald Trump announced that Mick Mulvaney was out as chief of staff and Mark Meadows was in. Now,
Boy.
there is some delicious schadenfreude that Mick Mulvaney spent the last several years debasing himself and shredding his reputation on behalf of Donald Trump, and is now being exiled as the envoy to Northern Ireland on the cusp of Brexit. That's true.
Sorry, Northern Ireland. You don't deserve this.
His replacement should give no one comfort. It seems that Meadows' antics in and out of Congress have been quite enough for the good people of North Carolina, and Meadows was facing electoral extinction in November. So now this knob is taking on the most powerful and one of the most powerful and consequential jobs on earth, right as we as a country and world are careening into the coronavirus crisis. So this is not a good thing. If there's any kind of silver lining to this, Meadows will suck at his job. He will humiliate himself, and within months he will be sent packing as well. And we will keep.
Or
you
he'll
posted.
be good at his job and be sent packing. Like,
Right.
there's no, like, being good is not going to keep you in the Trump administration.
That's right. I'm sorry to be such a bummer, but peppered throughout this segment, there were some positives. Give your money to charity, support, the LGBTQ community in Utah County, and fucking vote. So
Yes. Please, you can do all those things.
you can do all those things.
There's time.
Yeah, we still have work to do.
Yes.
Indeed.
All right. Well, with that cheerful update,
Whee!
let's move on.
Tally-ho. Oh, gentlemen,
To who?
we are content producers, is what we do.
We're blessed.
We are blessed, and those who are content consumers sometimes bless us further by kicking in a few bucks here and there.
Indeed.
Filthy lucre.
To make our day a little bit brighter. So we sure do appreciate that. We got some folks to thank. So thanks deeply to Brian and Natalie. You guys are awesome. I am going to assign myself a saint
Goodness.
for Rachel.
Rachel.
And Rachel, your patron saint is Saint Cardamom of Bethesda.
Oh, yeah.
And Saint Cardamom is the patron saint of really, really smooth feeling fabric,
Yeah.
delightful roller coasters, and really silky hair.
Oh,
Well,
So you're
it's a
really
very tactile saint.
rocking and rolling
Yeah.
with that one,
You know-
Rachel. So you are a lucky lady.
yeah, you're very lucky, Rachel, because for some reason, I can always spell cardamom correctly.
Oh.
I cannot spell cinnamon correctly.
No,
I don't know what the problem is.
Nobody can.
Yeah.
It's a known fact. And no one knows how to spell Bethesda.
No, it's not even a real word.
It's not even a real word. I just made it up. We're not done yet.
No.
Uncle Doug,
Yes.
Cindy has decided that she is going to be a heavenly patron.
That's right. Cindy.
Yes, Cindy, we love Cindy. Cindy's a friend.
Yes, longtime listener. Cindy has moved up in the world. So, well, listener Cindy, we are upon this ball of rock but for a season. And like it or not, one day winter will come for us all. And we will stenography no more. When that day comes, we will finally know the answer to what awaits us on the other side of the veil. So many years from now, Cindy, when your time comes and you see the Grim Reaper amongst your gathered friends and family, he will point his bony finger at you, and darkness will descend. For a time you drift in comforting darkness. How long you drift is impossible to say, as time and its passage are part of the world you left behind. Suddenly you notice something. Not a vision, not a sensation, but what? Is that apples? Do you smell cinnamon? Spelled correctly. The darkness around you dissolves into a buttery yellow light, and a room begins to come into focus. It's a room you have never been in before, but for some reason is familiar to you in a fundamental way you can't quite put your finger on. Cindy, heaven is a country kitchen in the 1950s. The warm pastels and well-worn furniture give you the overwhelming sensation of being home. Copper pots and pans, flour jars and wooden spoons, bread boxes and checkered dish towels adorn this Rockwell-esque visage. As you cast your eyes about, you see a hot apple and cinnamon pie cooling on the windowsill.
Classic. It's classic.
It's classic. The oven dings, and you open it to see several loaves of homemade bread steaming. You use an embroidered oven mitt to remove them and let them cool next to the pie. The aromas are arresting. Outside, you see children playing catch with old-timey mitts in the deep green of the rolling hills that extend as far as the eye can see, punctuated by picturesque oak trees with tire swings and hammocks swaying gently in the breeze. Of course, the children are all white, as is this heaven. Black people don't pine for the 1950s like white people do for some reason.
Weird, right?
Yeah, strange.
Yeah.
You open the vintage refrigerator and see the shelves extend to eternity, stocked with every conceivable ingredient. The spice shelf is full of every spice that has ever driven men mad. Ditto the pantry. The oven dings again. This time, a perfectly glazed honey-baked ham awaits you. You slice off a piece and taste the ham, and you taste the likes of which you have never experienced before. Like God created ham just for you, because in a real sense, she did. You see, Cindy, your heaven is to indulge in the nostalgia-baked joy of cooking forever. Anything your heart or stomach desires is yours for the baking. All you have to do is think of it. You cut yourself a healthy piece of apple pie and pour yourself a glass of fresh squeezed lemonade. What a perfect way to spend an afternoon in eternity than to swing in a hammock with a piece of apple pie. I don't
know if I'd pair it with lemonade, but you do you. Yeah, you do you.
Whatever you want.
You go to take off your yellow and green apron, but for some reason can't find where the knot is. You try to take it off over your head, but it won't budge. Huh. Well, you'll figure it out. It's fine to keep it on for a nap. However, as you look around the room, you realize that the one thing this kitchen does not have is a door. A cold chill runs up your spine. The oven dings again. You place the plate and glass on the table next to the ham and begin to frantically feel your way around, looking for some perhaps hidden exit, and find none. You run to the window, push the pie and loaves of bread out of the way and try to crawl through, but some invisible force holds you there. The oven dings again. You see, Cindy, the cinnamon rolls of the 1950s have returned, and so have the gender roles. This is the 1950s, Cindy. Your place is in the kitchen, and it always will be. Ding.
Wow.
Okay, we're going to make sure that Uncle Doug eats before he writes another heaven.
That is the circle of hell Dante forgot to write. The Betty Crocker circle.
Good grief. Well, now I'm hungry. But our day is not over yet, because, Uncle Mark,
Yes.
you need to provide a heaven for our friend Tim.
Tim?
There are those who call him Tim.
Well, Tim, you are amazing, and we thank you for your incredibly kind contribution to the show. And, of course, no good deed will ever go unrewarded around here. So, Tim, your patronage has earned you a forever thanks from your three uncles. What is going on with my mouth? As you may know from other episodes, our heavens are custom-designed places made especially for each individual and beloved donor to while away the infinite afternoons of eternity in. But sometimes things can get a little fritzy. Did you ever see Terry Gilliam's brilliant dystopian epic, Brazil? Remember when the machine gets a bug in it and Tuttle changes to Buttle? Well, yeah, this is not the easiest thing to have to tell you, but we have a similar sort of situation here at H2HHQ. You see, the divine destination divinization determinative destiny decision decoder seems to have a defective diode directly down from its density dial.
It feels like you might have a defective diode right now.
I do have a defective diode. Maybe I'm in my heaven. It's really as much a hardware problem as it is a software issue. Look, it's not really your problem, well, until it is. You were supposed to be stuck in a little boat with a tiger forever, where you both learn a lot about respect, life, and yourselves. We've got some major equipment upgrades planned after we get our tax refund, but that has nothing to do with your little oopsie daisy. You see, Tim, I know you were never a Mormon, but you're going to be.
No!
And this non-consensual reallocation of your entire being and history will occur shortly after your accidental arrival in the economy class of Mormon eternity, the Telestial Kingdom.
Oh, boy.
Wow, you think. This is not where I expected to be, but it's pretty nice. Not crazy nice. Not too bad. It's clearly a suburb of somewhere. Nice big houses with big front yards and the joyful cacophony of happy children playing everywhere like, Whew, holy shit, that's a lot of children. It's a beautiful sunny summer day here in this forever daybreak. That's a deep Utah suburb cut, Tim. Just trust me on that. There are firecrackers popping and the acrid childhood smell of those little smoky black snake pellets all around. Thinking it must be the 4th of July, you check your Apple Watch. Everyone here has an Apple Watch. But it's the 24th of July. That's odd. Why are there fireworks on the 24th of July, you wonder? Well, you see, Tim, the 24th of July is Pioneer Day in Utah, and Mormons love it so much that Independence Day pales in comparison.
It's true.
And you notice your Apple calendar looks a little weird. Why is every other day the 24th of July and the days between always the first Sunday of the month? Oof. Well, Tim.
Oh, no.
You're about to find out that the first Sunday of the month is Fast and Testimony meeting here in Casserole Country, an unstructured open mic affair where Mormons, driven mad by hunger, testify to the truth of Joseph Smith's prophecies and ugly cry in front of each other. It's mortifying and deeply uncomfortable, but it's going to be half your days up here, so get used to it. And for heck's sake, get a testimony.
Oh, man.
And on those days, you'll swap out the cargo shorts, Old Navy American flag T-shirt, and sandals with white socks for a baggy polyester suit and short-sleeve dress shirt, so you'll always be rocking that Mormon style. And like all Mormons, you'll be given a, quote, calling, which is an unpaid 20 or so hour a week job you can't quit for the rest of time. Your calling, Tim, will be working with the Deacons Quorum, issuing the Ferneets and the Omahex to your eager young charges. Luckily, you did well financially in life, so your calling won't be cleaning the ward house toilets like the poors. Count your blessings. You will be issued a forever wife, but just one, silly. This is mainstream Mormon heaven, after all. You met her 3 days after you got home from the mission you never served, and were married in the West Jordan Temple 3 weeks later. You never caught her name, but do recall her temple name is Ruth. Just remember never to say that until you're dead, which you won't be because you already are, heaven. She's a great mommy blogger and a helpmeet, and like a lot of us here in Mormon country, can best be described as built to quilt. Do you like casseroles? If not, you better learn now. There will be casseroles. So many casseroles. The rhythm of the casseroles will only be broken by the impossible Norman Rockwell sweetness of the Ward Ice Cream Social every 24th of July Eve, right before the fireworks over Liberty Park. Now, remember you are in the Telestial Kingdom, the lowest of the multi-level Mormon heavens. Is it nice? You know, sure. Would everyone, as Joseph Smith said, kill themselves to get there? Should they glimpse it? Probably not, if you're being honest. And you must surely be wondering what's going on in the upper class, more exalted tiers of Forever Provo. Wonder no more, Tim. I can tell you that the silver medalists in the terrestrial kingdom are forever in a gleaming boardroom at Ensign Peak Advisors, eternally trying to figure out how to keep a $100 billion fund secret from the poor, rank-and-file widows of the church, while demanding they forego food and rent to pay tithing. So that's a level of glory you surely must be jealous of. And all the way up in the variegated community of the Celestial Kingdom, 32 stories above you, the whitest and delightsomest Mormon hedge fund managers and orthodontists get to spend their cosmic forever in a tacky Victorian room dressed as a baker from a children's television show, while a half-asleep octogenarian rubs Wesson oil on their inner thigh, with Mitt Romney leaning his chin on their shoulder and rapping quietly, "Who let the dogs out? Who?
Oh, my God.
Who?" With his patented grin, forever. So try not to be jealous, Tim, and settle into the suburban ceaselessness of the Telestial Kingdom. You're overrun by children, forever Utah suburb from which there is no respite and no escape.
Wow. I would like to bear my testimony that I'm sorry about
Tim is
that.
like, what the fuck was that all about?
Yeah, that was some deep-ass Mormon cuts right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody
Jesus.
take to the Google if you need to understand any of that.
Yeah, or listen to our entire back catalog.
Right,
You'll
right,
get caught
right.
up eventually.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Well, thanks for that, gentlemen, and thank you, all you amazing donors out there. We sure do appreciate you. Obviously, well more than regular listeners, so that is a thing.
we love all our ugly children equally.
Yes, exactly. If you want to be one of the ugly children that pays us some money, please feel free. You can go to howtoheretic.com. You click on the thing that says Patreon on it or something like that.
Support us.
Support us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that. Or you can click on the Heretic and go buy some shit.
Yep.
Yeah, that helps too.
But yeah, everything helps, and we love you. Go give us 5 stars on the things.
Yep.
And let's move along.
Bye.
Hey, Uncle Doug.
Uncle Dan.
You know, there. I got nothing.
You know those weird things on your shelf that you use to
Those paper things?
the things in between the bookends. What are they called?
Those are called marijuana rolling weed.
Time Life Collection of Mysteries of the Ancient World.
Do you mean the Reader's Digest condensed versions?
That's right.
The Colliers. Yeah, well, I had one of those books, guys. I found one of those things. And
A book?
I gave it a read.
An honest-to-God book?
The whole thing.
Wow. Cover to cover.
I was going to say no pictures, but it does have pictures, and we'll talk about those. I'm going to do a book report this week, guys.
Okay.
Because remember last week I did a little story about a group of folks called the Anthill Kids, and that
I was really trying not to remember that.
and that
Don't remind us of that.
bummed everybody the fuck out.
I think we lost half our listeners.
We met with a group of kids yesterday in Provo that are part of the Secular Students Alliance.
Anthill Kids?
No.
Okay.
But one of the kids was like, "Hi, you're Uncle Mark. It's so great to meet you. I'm really fucked up about the Anthill Kids right now."
I really said that.
So that was a low down, dirty, bad thing to have done. So I promised this week to do something dumb and funny, and as far as I know, does not have a body count. But it's such a train wreck of terrible thinking and scholarship. It might, but anyone who may have died of it would be too embarrassed to admit it. So that they would then again die of embarrassment. So this week we will not be discussing a drunken murder pig in the swamps of Quebec, but rather a book that has had shockingly too much influence in the minds of the credulous, and that is 1968's Chariots of the Gods, ? Written by ridiculous Swissman Erich von Daniken.
Now, this is the one that's about the white guys running races in Oxford. Is that right?
Wow, that was obscure, but I got there.
Yeah.
You got there eventually?
Yeah, I got there with the Vangelis song.
We get one Chariots of Fire reference a week.
That's
We
right.
just blew it.
Damn it! So, and I don't know why that this book has a question mark in the title.
Somebody's going to at me and say that it was Cambridge or something.
It makes me
doesn't.
so mad that there's a question mark in the name of this book. So,
It really has a question mark?
yeah, it's Chariots of the Gods.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
What a way to make a statement. So, I alluded to this book a couple weeks ago in the Pyramid Power segment. The Pyramid of Khufu is a subject Daniken has more than a few hilarious and stupid ideas about, and more on those.
Daniken?
Daniken.
What? I don't know what that is.
Von Daniken, the name of the author.
Oh, my God.
You're going to hear it a bunch. So, but overall, the gist of the book is that the wonders of the ancient world are too wondrous to have been designed, conceived, and built by the duskier races on whose land they stand, and that surely it was alien visitors who built your assorted henges and ziggurats we rightly admire in awe today.
Obviously.
This is the overall idea of what's called the ancient astronauts theory, also called a steaming pile of racist anti-scientific bullshit. Let us revisit the how-to heretics' time-tested rule of thumb when marveling at the wonders of the ancient world. Just because white people didn't build it doesn't mean aliens did. That's it. So
Hot take, moving on.
spread it far and wide. So back to the Chariots of the Gods ? As I read this book, I found it useful to read it in the voice of Jermaine Clement's absurd Dr. Ronald Chevalier from Gentleman Broncos. Do you remember? Did you see that? He was so brilliant in it. Terrible movie, but he was delicious as a self-serious hack writer, perfect for today's subject.
Oh, my God.
And in that voice, which is very hard to do, here is the for real first line of the Chariots of the Gods ? It took courage to write this book, and it will take courage to read it. That's the for real opening line.
Uncle Mark, you're so brave.
Yes, yes. What a courageous act.
It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times.
But Von Daniken seems to imagine the scientific archaeological establishment would mock and ridicule him, and he was right.
Yeah.
So Let us screw our courage to the sticking place together.
He's really staking out some area next to Darwin, isn't he? With
You just stepped on a Shakespeare reference. Did you realize that?
What?
Yeah, I said, let us screw our courage to the sticking place together, dear listeners.
That's true. I didn't mean to step on that. That's from the Scottish play.
It is, indeed. Doug's going to...
Not do that.
Okay.
No, Macbeth is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And let us dive, helmet first, into this vast universe of derp.
I did not put on a helmet for this.
You got your space helmet on. Okay. Van Daniken's research, and that is in air quotes, appears to have consisted of passing through some of the world's great museums at a brisk walk, if not a Tom Cruise-style dead sprint. Here he describes some Sumerian artifacts he doesn't actually name. The old and I quote, the old cuneiform inscriptions credit the Sumerians with a literally fantastic lifetime. Thus, the 10 original kings ruled for a total of 456,000 years.
Oh.
And the 23 kings had the arduous task of reconstruction after the flood, which he capitalizes. They still managed to hold the reins of government for 24,510 years, 3 months, and 3.5 days.
3.5.
What? So you guys have heard of biblical literalists. We've had a good laugh at the expense of Ken Ham and his ilk. But our friend Von Daniken appears to be an everything literalist.
Right.
He takes, at face value, the mythic writings on unspecified clay tablets as factual reporting of real events in spans of time.
Well, look, if they took the time to chisel it, they wouldn't do that if it weren't real.
Yeah, that's
just logic.
It's a very difficult writing process to waste on a lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, much like a golden plate. That's why it's true. So what he's saying is that Sumerian culture existed for 500,000 years. Our species in its current form is only 200,000 years old, but the Sumerians had palaces and kings and writing and shit for 300,000 years before that. Sure.
Yeah, because aliens, duh.
Duh. But let's not get stuck in the Sumeria of a very distant prehistory, guys.
Okay.
Von Daniken calls for a utopian archaeological year. What would that be like? Let him take us there, with him and us to there. And I quote, a utopian architectural year is due, during which archaeologists, physicists, chemists, geologists, metallurgists, and all the corresponding branches of science ought to concentrate their efforts on one single question, did our forefathers receive visits from outer space? He courageously continues, the team for the utopian archaeological year would naturally include a group of divers who would investigate... Wait till I get to the end of this sentence. Investigate the Dead Sea for radioactive traces of an atomic explosion over Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, naturally, right?
All right, somebody get me James Cameron. I need his little submarine.
Yeah.
Somebody get me the Miscavige, because they're going to fund this thing.
And Greg Louganis.
Greg Louganis. And so
what Cousteaus are left?
I mean,
get me a Cousteau.
He expounds on the original ground zero in ancient Israel idea here, and I quote, and when the morning arose, the angels hastened Lot, saying, take thy wife and thy 2 daughters. That story ends up really weird. Which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters. There was a lot of hand-holding. The Lord being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they brought him forth abroad, that he said, escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed. Haste thee, escape thither. Vanaken bravely continues. According to this report, there is no doubt the, quote, angels possessed a power unknown to the inhabitants. Report.
It's a report.
He calls a story from the book of Genesis. My God, what a dope. But wait, there's more. Let us imagine that Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed according to plan, i.e., deliberately by nuclear explosion. Perhaps, let us speculate a little further, the, quote, angels simply wanted to destroy some dangerous fissionable material at the same time wiping out a human brood they found unpleasant.
What are we going to do with these nuclear bombs?
I got to blow this shit up
I
somewhere.
got so much plutonium. I don't know what to do with it all. Do you have any ideas? Can we brainstorm this one?
There has to be another way.
You know who I don't like is everybody in those cities. I think we can make this a win-win.
And we all know the story. Lot's wife turned around and looked straight at the atomic sun. Nowadays, no one is surprised that she fell dead on the spot. Okay. A lot to unpack there.
Point of order.
Yeah. But firstly, looking at an atomic blast doesn't automatically kill you. It's not fucking Bird Box.
Does it turn you into salt?
Exactly.
Or does looking away save you?
Right. People go, ha-ha! Curses, you foiled my weapon. Being too close to it is what kills you. And
the problem at Nagasaki was that everybody looked.
Yeah.
Right.
All the Japanese just happened to be looking skyward at that moment. And the story does not say she fell dead on the spot or had her shadow etched into the concrete like the unfortunate souls in Hiroshima. It says she turned into a pillar of salt. Not a known outcome of atomic blasts turning people into seasonings.
That we know about.
Well, and that's the thing. It says salt.
Yes.
You believe everything of the story until it's like the salt.
Oh, you believe everything and more.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You add to the story, you get it. Maybe the salt is just seasoning.
Yes, the whole thing is hilariously silly, but there is another theme there that is pretty constant one for von Daniken, and that is eugenics and a casual sort of racism.
Oh, fun!
When he mentions the angels taking out, quote, a human brood they found unpleasant, what is he talking about? Well, part of his ancient astronauts theory is that the ancient space travelers not only bequeathed us some cool-ass buildings, but us ourselves. According to him, we are part of a breeding program where our pre-human DNA was mixed with the race of super space beings, again, because humans, specifically brown ones, were too stupid to do all those cool things. Here's an example of the casual language he uses describing non-white people. And there's a lot of this. Some parts of our Earth are still inhabited by primitive peoples to whom a machine gun is a weapon of the devil. Most people think machine guns are bad.
I'm kind of...
Well, most good people. In this case, a jet aircraft may well be an angelic vehicle to them, and a voice coming from a radio set might seem the voice of a god. These last primitive peoples too naively hand down from generation to generation their sagas, their impressions of technical achievements that we take for granted. They still scratch their divine figures on their and their wonderful ships coming from heaven on cliffs and cave walls. In this way, these savage peoples have actually preserved for us what we seek today. So, pretty boilerplate colonist thinking from a conservative old white dude from Switzerland. But here's a real gem of the ugliness behind the comedy. Here he is talking about the astronomical achievements of the Mayans. The Mayans left behind them calculations to last 64 million years. Later inscriptions dealt in units that probably approach 400 million years.
Amazing.
So many zeros, which the Mayans invented, by the way. The famous Venusian formula could quite plausibly have been calculated by an electronic brain. At any rate, it is difficult to believe that it originated from a jungle people.
Well,
why? What does jungle have to do with the intelligence of a given population? So go fuck yourself, stupid Central American people who created several of the world's most fascinating civilizations. You're too dumb to count to 400 million. Yeah. What a dismissive, culturally arrogant piece of Swiss shit. So his cultural arrogance might be easier to swallow if it wasn't anyway backed up by good scholarship and anything remotely resembling the scientific method, but it is not. Let us wade further into this swamp of gobbledygook and unprovable assumptions. Staying just with the Mayans. Von Daniken claims that a Mayan inscription on a tomb in Copan, it's actually in Palenque, but such trifling facts mustn't get in the way of the truth. He says it depicts a space traveler reclining in his spacecraft.
Ooh.
So that's probably true, except that it's not. People who've done more than just jog past the Mayan section at the museum, actual Mayanists who have deciphered Mayan glyphs and symbols tell us it's a perfectly normal depiction of a king surrounded by serpent gods whose bodies Von Daniken insists is the rocket outline, and whose feather beards he insists is the rocket exhaust. He is 1,000% wrong. In India, Von Daniken claims there is an iron pillar of unknown age, origin, and provenance that has never rusted. Therefore, it was clearly made by people from beyond the stars. Except it wasn't. The name of the king who had it made in 420 CE is actually on the fucking thing. It does rust, but is made out of an iron alloy that the Indians developed and have long been cognizant of. So amazing work there, von Daniken. He also mentions famed astro know-it-all and turtleneck model Carl Sagan more than once in his book. He claims Sagan declared that the Martian moon Phobos is an artificial satellite because it lacks the presumed mass of a rock that size ought to have. No, he did not. That was hypothesized by a co-author of one of Sagan's books, but Sagan himself rejected the idea of it being made by intelligent beings.
Yeah, but he was kind of near to somebody who said it, so...
Adjacent. Yeah.
I just feel like...
Just throw his name in there.
I feel like you're being unreasonable.
I'm the bad Swiss guy. Sagan, not overly pleased with his name being in von Daniken's book, as you can imagine, commented that writing as careless as von Daniken's, whose principal thesis is that our ancestors were dummies, should be so popular as a sober commentary on the credulousness and despair of our times.
Boy, things have not gotten better, Carl.
No, it's good.
Please do not come check in with the future.
You're gone, Carl, and you're the lucky one. He continues, I also hope for the continuing popularity of books like The Chariots of the Gods, in high school and college logic courses as object lessons in sloppy thinking. I know of no recent books so riddled with logical and factual errors as the works of von Daniken. You got Sagan burned. And we do know exactly why Phobos' mass is weird. It's because it's a giant booger of rubble and dirty ice rather than a dense mass of solid rock. But sure, if you don't know why a thing is, always just declare aliens did it. It's the little green men of the gaps fallacy.
It's the problem of so much bad thinking that, like, we don't have an explanation. So a non-natural explanation must be the case.
The most absurd possible explanation is obviously the right one.
Like, science can't explain this.
Therefore,
yeah.
Aliens / energy / vibrations.
And throw a Jew in for good measure.
And Jews.
So von Daniken is also fairly certain the Ark of the Covenant was a high energy battery, like an Energizer-style battery, and or a radio for speaking to the gods from beyond the Van Allen belt.
Wow.
Are there more true alien astronaut facts in this wondrous book? ? Of course there are, silly. Von Daniken makes a ton of hay out of the mysterious map once belonging to a Turkish admiral called Piri Reis, who compiled it around 1513. While it does, as Von Daniken claims, show the outlines of Europe and parts of the Americas in surprisingly accurate relief, it does not, as he bizarrely claims, show dead-accurate mountain ranges in Antarctica that are buried in ice and only observable from space. It doesn't show any part of Antarctica at all, as the map ends well north of there, and because he's a super genius, he includes a picture of the map in his book without Antarctica in it.
Well, Antarctica's in it, it's just cut off.
That's right. Well, it's there. You just have to look for it. And of course, he has many opinions about how the Egyptians couldn't possibly have built their own damned pyramids without Major Tom's help. He claims their tools were not sufficient to the task, that they were too ignorant of the magnetic compass directions. Yes, the Egyptians were deeply stupid. And there is no evidence there were ever any workers employed there in large numbers. No. Well, there are many mysteries.
I can point to some pretty large evidences of workers. I don't know.
The pyramid?
The pyramid
In the
itself.
form of the pyramid. While there are many mysteries around this magnificent structure, there are also some conclusive answers. The tool marks are still visible in the quarries from which the stones came. There is extensive evidence of huge worker encampments and facilities to feed them. By the way, they were not Jewish slaves. And while the Egyptians at the time did not have the magnetic compass, they used celestial reckoning to determine directions accurately. Wrong on all counts, and not wrong after the fact. This is information that was known at the time of his writing. But he then goes into some bizarre math ahas about the pyramid, stating, and I quote, "Is it really coincidence that the height of the Pyramid of Cheops multiplied by 1,000 million, 98 million miles, is the answer, corresponds approximately to the distance between the Earth and the Sun? Is it a coincidence that the meridian running through the pyramids divides the continents and oceans into 2 equal halves? Is it coincidence that the base area of the pyramid divided by twice its height is the figure pi? Is it coincidence that calculations of the weight of the Earth were found? And is it also coincidence that the rocky ground on which the structure stands is carefully and accurately leveled? I want to scream.
Oh my God.
No.
Can I just say that there is something so stunningly beautiful about
This recklessness.
like someone saying, look it, if you take this and you multiply it by that, it is almost a little bit close to
Right.
the number that you'd need
For this completely arbitrary distance.
If you multiply it by
This arbitrary fact that I
a
just...
number that I'm making up.
Yeah.
And why? Why? When the Egyptians are like, or the aliens are like, are going to build a pyramid.
Yeah.
Here's what I need it to do.
Yeah.
It's got to roughly cut Africa in half.
Yeah.
It's got to be this distance times this to the sun. Like,
Right.
Why?
So it is not coincidence that the ground is accurately leveled. That's what you do before you build a building, moron. The Pyramid of Khufu isn't even the only pyramid built with inside of itself built on leveled ground. Egypt is chock-a-block with buildings built on leveled ground, as is everywhere else. And as you were saying, as for the calculations about the distance to the sun and shit, Egyptians did not use miles as a metric. His number is off by over 5 million miles anyway. And if I multiply my socks by my cat and get Thursday as a result, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? It's crazy making.
It's technically like almost Friday.
So even with all this garbage, and even with several clear cases of plagiarism within it, yes, he actually stole some of this poppycock from other people. This book has sold tens of millions of copies, which is pretty damned depressing because not all those purchases were as ironic as mine.
I bet money I could point right now to the people in my Facebook feed who have read and believe this shit.
A guy I work with and respect deeply, when I was telling him my segment today, he's like, oh, yeah, I read that book. It was really interesting. I'm like, no. Okay.
No.
So,
I mean, interesting. I'm finding it interesting.
well, here's the thing is, for like science fiction purposes, it's a fascinating idea about the origins of life, right? Like Prometheus, that the Earth was seeded with this life, and then a really bad movie followed it.
Or Stargate.
Or LRH, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if we're going to talk about like
Yeah,
atomic bombs and exploding aliens,
yeah.
there's lots of
They're all
places to
stupid,
look.
but it's fun to think about. So, von Daniken, the Dr. Ronald Chevalier of the pseudoscience world, ends his strange and terrible book exactly how you probably imagine he would, and I quote, "It is not our fault that the Japanese statue of Tokomai, which is many thousands of years old, had modern fastenings and eye apertures on its helmet. It is not our fault that the stone relief from Palenque exists. It is not our fault that Admiral Piri Reis did not burn his ancient maps. Why would he burn them? It is not our fault that the old books and traditions of human history exhibit so many absurdities. But it is our fault if we know all this, but disregard it and refuse to take it seriously." But you didn't think this is the end of the amazing von Daniken, did you? Indeed it is not. In addition to writing several more books after this one that I will not read, one of which was written in prison while he was doing time for fraud and embezzlement, he opened, and this is true, a Chariots of the Gods themed amusement park called Jungfrau Park in Switzerland in 2003.
Wow.
I want to go to there.
Yeah.
Well, you can go see it yourself. Oh, wait, no, you can't. It went bankrupt in 2006.
I know.
Anyway, bye, Eric von Daniken, ? May your sweet chariot not burn you to a crisp with its rocket blast when it swings low to collect you.
Oh my goodness.
So please don't read that book. It's very stupid. Actually, you know what? It was a crazy fun read.
Yeah.
Because it's so crackers. It's just so fucking bananas.
It's like watching anything on the History Channel now.
Yeah.
Right, totally.
And half the book is just him bitching about how he's been treated by the scientific community.
They won't accept me at all, and that is their fault.
I dare to ask these questions.
That's right.
Yeah. So what fun.
Throw it in the fire.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Well, thanks, Uncle Mark, for that non-enlightening bit of nonsense.
Let's move on to the next uninhabited planet.
Yes, indeed.
Well, friends, that's it for this week's show.
Hey, we'd love to hear from you. If you read a book, send us an email at howtoheretic.com.
Or if you're one of the assholes that works in the BYU Honor Code office, go fuck yourself. But you can also leave us a voicemail about it at 903-88-HOW-TO, which is 903-884-6986. We're also on Twitter at HowToHeretic.
Go fuck yourself indeed, and thanks to our patrons.
And thanks to Cody Layton for editing the show.
And thanks to all of you for tuning in.
Bye, friends.